Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe Pal CHH here today with a little bit of physical media news. This is good news and hopefully not bad news, but it's news nonetheless. We are definitely about to enter a big transitional phase in the world of physical media, in particular with a lot of horror titles, so I figured this is worth bringing up. The first thing, and it's sad, but the day has come, Aldo Films have announced that they are no longer in business. They made some posts on social media letting us all know that, you know, if you've purchased titles from us before in the past and they are a part of your collection, thank you. And, you know, it's sad because Aldo Films has put out some gems. I mean, one of my favorite titles they put out, which I became a big fan of, was The Boogans, which is a creature feature that I forgot to talk about in my creature feature video because I'm scatterbrained, but it's sad. So they are out of business. But what does that mean for physical media? Well, number one, that means that a lot of those titles are going to be up for grabs, I think, unless, if it's true, and I don't know if this is true or not, but as we saw, talking about the Boogans, Kino Lorber themselves announced that they are putting out the Boogans on 4K, and I'm actually excited about that because this is actually a really good sleeper creature feature movie that I like a lot. And the thing about Olive Films is a lot of these Blu-rays looked pretty good, but not great. So they're ripe for the big HD updates. Some of the other titles that they had were like Witchboard 2, which I just have the DVD for from Olive Films. And I actually like Witchboard 2 more than Witchboard 1. And that's a title that could be ripe for Kino Lorber to do a updated Blu-ray on. Or, if they don't buy the entire library, maybe Scream Factory can get their hands on Witchboard 2 and they could do some sort of box set with the other Witchboards. But, you know, we saw already that this has been in transition before Olive actually announced it, because if you remembered a week or so ago, we got the word that Monster Squad was coming to 4K from Kino Lorber. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next week or so plays out. I think that Olive also had movies like Thinner on Blu-ray, but what's really interesting is a movie like this, Demons 2, Night of the Demons 2, that is. This was Olive Films, and this is a title that I really, really like. I actually prefer it over Demons 1, and this could be really good news. Maybe we could get something really special, depending on who picks this up. Will it be Scream Factory or Kino Lorber? I don't know. And then the question becomes, am I upset if Kino Lorber buys out the Olive Films library, or if they did? That remains to be seen. You know, we're just going to have to see how this plays out. I do have a number of Kino Lorber titles, and truthfully, I've always been pretty happy with them. Even though Criterion did an incredible release for Silence of the Lambs, which not only that I have, but I kept, my instinct told me to go ahead and grab the Kino Lorber 4K for the movie that they did roughly a year or so ago, and truth be told, it looks stunning. They did a fantastic job, and they've also restored some stuff incredibly well. There's a movie, I believe it's called Buried Alive. It was a made-for-TV movie that a really prominent film person did early on in his career. I think it was Frank Darabont, I think. But it's this really great movie that they put out, and it looked incredible. It was a remastered TV movie that was shockingly good looking. So, for the most part, I've been very happy with Kino's releases, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be for everybody, because a lot of people prefer other companies that do more collector-type things. Kino usually keeps it pretty close to the cuff and pretty straightforward. You know, they'll original artwork, slipcover. They'll do pretty damn good picture and audio. So, I know we're going to see, guys. I don't know the ins and outs of what's going on with this deal behind the scenes, but it's obvious that Kino has made a big swing at the Olive Films library, and I can only anticipate that there'll be more. And Kino doesn't only just do horror either, so there's a lot that they can take from that Olive library. So that's the first thing, and the second thing is we got news that another section of Scream Factory's library is now stricken from their collection. IFC and Vinegar Syndrome have announced that they have partnered together. That's right. So, you know, some of the IFC titles that Scream Factory would do were actually pretty damn good movies. You know, we talked about this a couple times, and this was recent. The Renapal film was really good. There's other stuff like Relic that I also talked about, which was a sensationally good movie. Movies like Dark Summer. I mean, if you go through the IFC library with Scream Factory, you will find some really good hidden gem films. Another thing that they did, now this is not a Scream Factory title, but IFC did have the Human Centipede films, and we know that Scream Factory did a very limited box set of the Human Centipede films, and we just saw that the Human Centipede films got a steelbook release overseas. That begs the question, what's going to happen now? I hate to, get anyone's hopes up, but I actually think this is a really good move for Vinegar Syndrome because, again, this is a ripe catalog that I think they can pluck from and do some incredibly nice stuff for. And a lot of people are already anticipating getting a really nice triple box set for the Human Centipede films, Human Centipede 1, 2, and 3. Now, those films aren't for everybody. I'm one of those people that definitely likes the first movie. I think it's a pretty damn good, suspenseful, creepy movie. I think 2 is that more cult status one. And 3, I've seen it once. I really need to revisit it. I don't remember liking it or disliking it one way or the other. I'm sure I would probably get a kick out of it at this point. But there are titles like that that have an audience, certainly have an audience. And I think a lot of people are eagerly anticipating this IFC Vinegar Syndrome relationship and what's to come from it. But ultimately, I mean, the ball is now in Vinegar Syndrome's court to see what they do and how they're going to pluck from the IFC library. Look, guys, that's this video. I don't want to take too much of your guys' time, especially on a Sunday, which is when I'm uploading this. But just know we are in a very, very big transitional phase. So if you're thinking about picking up an out-of-print title right now, I would think twice. If I find out any more news, guys, I'll be back to report it. But for now, this is your old pal CHH. You guys have a great rest of your day. Take care. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.